Hi, my name is Roberto Francois, and this is my documentary project on Is Social Media Taking Over Face-to-Face Communication?
James Nicholson,
How do you typically talk among your peers?
face to face.
Okay. Is it easy to talk over social media instead of face-to-face, and why?
I mean, I don't really know. Usually, if I'm talking over social media, I worry about what's going to be preserved there forever, you know? Whereas when you're talking face to face, you have more, depending on who you're talking with, you have more of an assumption of privacy because it's not just being basically written in internet stone.
Okay. How can we promote face-to-face communication over social media?
We can try and continue promoting public spaces rather than promoting social structures that erode at more traditional public spaces.
All right, thank you. What's your name?
My name is Luis Aponte. I'm from Ardmore High School, 11th grader, class 2020.
Okay. How do you typically talk among your peers?
It was going good. It was doing good so far.
No, like, how do you talk to them, Louis? Like, text, call?
Always texting, depends, yeah.
Okay. Is it easy to talk over social media instead of face-to-face, and why?
Well, that's easy, text is easy. Because for writing everything.
Okay. How can we promote face-to-face communication over social media?
Well, it depends on they have to make to do.
Okay.
Mr. Hyde.
Okay. How do you typically talk among your peers?
I usually talk through text message or phone calls or face to face.
Is it easy to talk over social media instead of face-to-face, and why?
Not for me. I'm not on social media a lot. If it's probably easier to text somebody that I don't see that often than talk to them face to face, but I don't really get on social media.
Okay. How can we promote face-to-face communication over social media?
I think it has to be a conscious effort from everyone. One way is you got to put your phones away in class. That'll work. That'll help. But in social situations, we just got to put our phones away.
All right. Thank you. Your name?
Miss Bruton.
Okay. How do you typically talk among your peers?
I talk to them via text messaging, going out for dinner, or through Facebook Messenger.
Okay. Is it easy to talk over social media instead of face-to-face, and why?
I think it's easier to talk with people social media that you're not really good friends with, like acquaintances, if you will, because sometimes you just want to tell them something quick. But in terms of having communication, a good conversation, it's better face to face.
Okay. How can we promote face-to-face communication over social media?
I don't know that you necessarily need to. I feel like times are changing, and if people are more comfortable with talking via text, at least there's still that type of interaction, and I think that's okay.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Deputy Baker.
All right. How do you typically talk among your peers?
I'm from a little more of the old school era, so we meet up, go hang out, and talk face to face
Okay.
for the most part.
Okay. Is it easy to talk over social media instead of face-to-face, and why?
Yes, because it's more convenient through social media. So I think social media has made it more convenient for us to communicate with our busy schedules, and a lot of our friends are families and stuff. So not too much time to do face-to-face anymore. But yeah.
How can we promote face-to-face communication over social media?
I think using, like I said, like your communication is a lot easier through social media. So maybe using social media to organize events to go to. Like I try to get friends to join me at Rays games or any events, or even just going out for the night and grabbing a couple drinks or whatever. That's probably the easiest way to link social media to face-to-face.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Nashant Benz.
All right. How do you typically talk among your peers?
Usually if not face to face, I'll, shoot them a text or something like that, or Instagram or Snapchat, something like that. Any way I can get in contact, really.
Is it easy to talk over social media instead of face to face, and why?
Sometimes, only because a lot of people want to be spared the facial reaction, or they don't want the embarrassment or the nervousness. A lot of times the nervousness goes away when you're not face to face, so that kind of helps.
How can we promote face-to-face communication over social media?
Promoting it will probably be best if we get more comfortable expressing ourselves in front of people. We've come into a culture now where it's a little bit harder to express each other outwardly. A lot of people are getting fame and such over social media instead of actually going out and doing things. So I feel like being able to embrace yourself and embrace your pitfalls and what you're good at, what you're not good at would be a good thing.
All right, thank you. What's your name?
Mrs. Rubinsky.
All right. How do you typically talk among your peers?
Well, definitely through group chats, texting, and face-to-face when we get together.
Okay. Is it easier to talk over social media instead of face-to-face, and why?
I honestly think that people feel more comfortable talking over social media just because, for whatever reason, I believe that technology creates almost like a barrier or almost like a safety net where people feel more comfortable saying what they really feel without judgment, because you don't have that other person on the other side looking at you funny or judging what you're saying. So that technology creates a barrier to make people more comfortable to say whatever they want over social media. So definitely over social media.
Okay. How can we promote face-to-face communication over social media?
Well, I think that when people are in the company of other people in person, they should not be allowed to bring their phones out, or there should be some sort of way to prevent people from even accessing social media when they're in the presence of others in person.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Ajay Hall.
All right. How do you typically talk among your peers?
In person and text.
All right. Is it easy to talk over social media instead of face-to-face, and why?
No, it's easier to talk face-to-face because, it means something more.
All right. How can we promote face-to-face communication over social media?
FaceTime or video chats.
All right. Thanks. All right. What is your name?
Abigail Peterson.
Okay. How do you typically talk among your peers?
I prefer face-to-face communication and texting if we're planning an outing so we can get to face-to-face communication.
Is it easy to talk over social media instead of face-to-face, and why?
Well, it is easier to talk on social media because it's more accessible when you're not always around a person, but your phone is usually always on you, so it's easier, but it's not preferable.
Okay. How can we promote face-to-face communication over social media?
Over social media, face-to-face communication is FaceTiming or video chatting in any kind of situation. And to be able to it imitates that kind of face-to-face communication with social media. So it's an equality thing, and it doesn't make sense to go out of your way to meet face-to-face if you can do that over social media, which is the usual mindset, but body language and gestures are important to conversations, so I think that's why face-to-face is better.
Okay, thank you. What's your name?
Hi, my name is Courtney McDougall.
Okay. How do you typically talk among your peers?
A way that I typically talk among my peers is to communicate with them via text or communicate with them face-to-face. I scarcely use the phone or social media.
All right. Is it easy to talk over social media instead of face-to-face, and why?
I believe that it is easier to talk over social media because it gets rid of that whole social anxiety aspect, and I believe that people are able to be a little bit more open via social media. They're less reluctant to share their personal feelings and opinions.
Okay. How can we promote face-to-face communication over social media?
We could promote social interaction over social media by perhaps offering venues for people to meet face-to-face, by offering opportunities for kids to socialize in person, so maybe doing outreach events or coordinating outreach opportunities for kids to physically get together instead of having that objection over social media.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.